Like Dan said, my name's Natalie, and I can't tell you how honored I am to stand here in this room right now with people like you that are donors. One of you could have been one of the people that helped save my life and had an impact on my life the past 8 months. I have no way of knowing, but I just can't tell you how honored I am to speak to you. I couldn't ask for a better crowd and an audience. And I can't thank you enough. I'd like to share my story with you, but before I do that, I'd like to share an essay with you that I was introduced to 11 years ago when I had my son that was born with a chromosomal abnormality. The essay is called Welcome to Holland by Emily Kinsley. When you're gonna go have a baby, it's like planning a fabulous trip to Italy. You buy a bunch of guidebooks and make your wonderful plans. The Colosseum, the Michelangelo David, the gondolas in Venice. You learn some handy phrases in Italian. It's all very exciting. After months of eagerly anticipation, the day finally arrives. You pack your bags and off you go. Several hours later, the plane lands and the stewardess comes in and says, "Welcome to Holland." Holland, you say. What do you mean Holland? I signed up for Italy. I'm supposed to be in Italy. All my life I've dreamed of going to Italy. But there's been a change in the flight plan. They've landed in Holland and you must stay there. The important thing that is that it's not a horrible place, it's just a different place than what you were anticipating. So you must go out, buy new guidebooks, you must learn a whole new language, and you will meet a whole new group of people you would have never met before. It's just a different place, a slower pace than Italy, less flashy than Italy, but after you've been there for a while, you catch your breath, you look around, and you begin to notice that Holland, it has windmills, it has tulips. It isn't that bad. But everyone you know is busy coming and going from Italy. And for the rest of your life, you will say, that's where I was supposed to go, that's what I had planned. But if you spend your life mourning the fact that you didn't get to go to Italy, you may never be free to enjoy the very special and very loving things about Holland. Little did I know I'd be sharing this story 11 years later in relation to how it has affected me the past 8 months. Last April 2018, I was diagnosed with AML leukemia. I went to the doctor because I was having some fatigue and I had a little bump below my eyebrow and I wanted it gone. I was leaving for a 20th anniversary trip the following Tuesday. So I went to my primary doctor and just said, you know, what's going on? Do you want to draw some blood? I need a referral for a dermatologist. And she agreed to draw some blood. She suspected maybe I had strep throat and told me that she'd call me with any results later on. I left that appointment and I'm a Zumba instructor that was teaching 5 classes a week at that time. I went home prepared for my class, and at that time, the primary doctor called my cell phone number and told me to write down numbers that at that time meant nothing to me. Write down these numbers and go to the ER. I didn't have strep throat, but she did suspect the leukemia. I didn't get scared, I got more angry than anything else, as you just don't get a phone call like that. I had things to do. I felt that I was a young, healthy individual. I had 2 young kids at home. I had a class to go teach, and I had a trip the following week. It just wasn't possible what she was saying. I did what she told me though. I got ready, I found a sub for my class with an hour's notice, and I went to the ER. Once I said goodbye to my kids and told them I'd be back after teaching, and little did I know that I wouldn't return back home for 38 days at that point. After going to the hospital, further testing confirmed that it was AML leukemia, and that I also had a FLT3 mutation that would require me to have a transplant. There was no other way around it. My body at that point was 94% filled with the leukemia, and they immediately started me on chemo. At that time, since I did have the mutation and would require a transplant, they immediately started working with Be a Match to find me a donor, as that was going to take some time. And with my heritage background from my mom and dad, they didn't know how long it would take. And at that time, I was told that there was 14,000 people waiting to receive transplants and waiting to find that perfect match. Started up the chemo, and at that time, a whole new language, like the story, Welcome to Holland, a whole new language came into our vocabulary, platelets, bloods. I'm embarrassed to say that before this life-changing event, I had never even heard of the word platelets. And now it had become a daily question while in the hospital. What were my platelet counts? What's my red blood count? Will I need transfusions? Is there blood available? Is what I need available for me today if I do need the transfusions? Went through that and the chemo, and met some amazing staff in the hospital that helped me get through this. I had my family and my friends working with me in like a tribe. They recruited people, they helped advocate people and make people more knowledgeable about how there is that demand there for blood and platelets and how it can save a life. And like Dan mentioned, 1 in 3 of us will at some point need a blood transfusion in our life. It's the one thing that cannot be manufactured. And so I need you, we need you. And again, I just can't express my gratitude to you for being donors. I think that one of the days that I was in the hospital, I received 4 bags of platelets in one day. And thanks to my friends and family, they did help advocate and get more donors in there. While I was in the hospital, I looked at it as there was work being done behind the scenes. I had family, I had friends, I had strangers going in and donating. There was a lot of direct donations done in my honor that if I did not use them or they weren't the right fit for myself, they did go to other people in need of blood and platelets. Wow, it's different talking to donors.
You're doing great.
I just can't thank you enough. You have chosen to go in there and care about people like me and know that what you have done and give does make a difference. You are saving lives, and it means the world. I just cannot stress how much it means. And as you know, that most of these bloods, once it's donated, it's infused within 2 to 3 days and it's used. There is such a constant use and it's never ending. Donors like you are coming in on a daily basis, and there's teams working behind the scenes, going and delivering this blood to people like me at hospitals like here, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. In between my hospital stays, I did have the honor of going to one of the One Blood locations and introducing myself and getting to meet the staff. I also wanted to see people and donors there at that time and thank them for what they do. And that was a very eye-opening experience for me to just see firsthand donors in a room donating for people like me, an amazing staff at that location. That was a huge eye-opening experience. And that in comparison today, being in this room here with you, you guys are heroes. You're helping to save lives, and you cannot replace that. It's priceless. Currently, I'm 148 days post-transplant. I had my transplant in August. My immune system sucks. There's a lot of days I don't have the energy to do what I want to do, and there's a lot of things I just flat out can't do until I do build up a stronger immune system. I am getting stronger with the help of my friends, my family, with you guys. My last transfusion was just 2 weeks ago that I needed, and I know that wasn't my last one. I know I'm gonna have more. I continue to try to get strong, keep my health itself in as healthy as environments as possible, wear my mask, and do what I need to do. I've had a rough 100 days, and I've caught 4 viruses during that time, and it's a constant battle I'm learning that I'm just gonna have to live with. But I am alive, and I can't ask for anything more. I have that second chance, and again, it's from people like you. It's from people, my donor out there, that hopefully one day I'll be able to meet. And it's constant. It's a life-changing event, and I have a second chance. I'm glad Dan asked me to share my story today, because I've become very passionate about this and advocating and getting the word out there to people for several reasons. One, for you and your health. And like Dan said, you get those well checks, you just never know. I had no idea of what was gonna happen that day that I went in for a dermatologist referral. And you just have to take care of yourself and listen to your body. Sometimes you and your body knows more than the doctors, and you know when something's not right. Second, to advocate and make people more knowledgeable of leukemia and the blood cancers. There is no pre-test I could have done a month beforehand, a week beforehand, a day beforehand, that would have let me know of what I was getting ready to encounter. And I hope one day that technology science does make that available, to be able to know ahead of time. And all you guys are donors here, but in sharing my story and advocating, what I also hope to do is to inform healthy individuals of the importance that they can play in other people's lives, and to get them to become donors. There's such a need out there. There were days at the hospital that they didn't have the platelets I needed, and I stayed at a 0, and I had to wait. For blood, the need there is so constant and will always be there, because it's not something that can be manufactured. I want to make my children more aware and instill in this, and tell them about what you guys do, and hope that they do the same as they become adults. And lastly, to be able to come into an environment like this with donors and be able to personally thank you for everything that you do. And again, I cannot express the gratitude. I wish I would have known before this happened that I could have done this and had an impact on somebody's life. Unfortunately, I don't think they'll ever want my blood or platelets. But I'll do my part in helping to advocate and make people more knowledgeable, so that there are more people like you out there that become donors. Again, you have shared life and have made it possible for people to live. And I just want to thank you for letting me share my story with you today.